Welcome back. As promised, we are going to finish up with Brenda Mayrack. There's a couple other things we wanted to talk about. Just a few more of the points that you recently mentioned.
Sure. Yeah, I already talked about several of the points in
Right.
my plan: performance auditing, reaching out to nonprofit groups and supporting our nonprofit community.
Yeah.
Getting those school district audits done in a way that is understandable and accessible for parents and taxpayers. But the last point I'd love to talk about is just using technology. I mentioned I have a tech company on the side that
Right.
created an app for the legislative process, and I really think there's a way that we can use technology better in state government, particularly for the auditor's office. And fraud, waste, and abuse is generally reported by those employees who are in direct contact. They're on the front lines. But you've got to give people a secure and confidential way to come forward with their knowledge.
Right.
And I just think the technology in the office has not kept up with the times.
Okay.
A 1-800 number was state of the art back in the
Right.
80s, okay?
Yeah.
Not
yeah.
so much anymore.
Right.
But we all carry smartphones,
Right.
right? With a camera on our phone.
Yes.
And there are apps and platforms available that allow people to take pictures and send it in and do it in a confidential way. And I want to get the auditor's office using something like that so that whistleblowers can come forward securely, confidentially, and get that information to the auditor's office faster.
How do you think that's
So-
going to be received?
I think it'll be received well. I mean, obviously, I know I have to build coalitions, build support in the legislature, in the administration, make sure we have the budget for it. But again, anything the auditor's office is doing should really pay for itself.
Right.
Because if we're allowing people to come forward, we're going to find and save money. And so something like that will really pay for itself in the long run.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
You also wanted to talk about the Board of Pardons a little.
Yeah. The auditor is one of the 5 people who sit on Delaware's Board of Pardons.
I did
And,
not know that.
Yeah, it's the Lieutenant Governor,
Mm-hmm.
the Chancellor, the Court of Chancery, Secretary of State, the State Treasurer, and the Auditor. And so we might be in a really unique situation next year. Our Lieutenant Governor, Matt Dehn, is running for Attorney General.
Right.
And Delaware law has no provision to replace a Lieutenant Governor.
Right.
So it's possible that the Board of Pardons would have 4 members
Right.
on it.
Right.
But it still takes a majority vote
Oh.
for the board to take action.
Yes.
So you would need 3
Right.
votes
Right.
for a pardon.
Right.
And so I think people need to think really long and hard about who is on the Board of Pardons next year. Because if Matt Dehn is elected Attorney General, he won't be there, and there would be 4 people left.
Right.
So, and I know this board's very important, particularly for people who are trying to get their lives back on track, trying to get a job, trying to get a license. And so this board plays an important role, and I know there's a backlog. People are waiting months to get in front of the board. And this is an important process that people just need to think about, outside of the auditor's office. I mean,
Yeah.
as I said, I'm running against someone who's been in office 25 years. We're not doing enough auditing. There's 10 vacant staff positions. The office has really dwindled in terms of resources. My opponent really isn't putting forth any new ideas. I've offered a 5-point plan, and that, and also thinking about the Board of Pardons and that other role for the office, is why I ask people to vote for me.
Okay.
And I think that Brenda's commitment and
Knowledge.
certainly her knowledge and competency is well worth your consideration. And ultimately, you are the voter, and your voice does count. So what matters most to you is going to be reflected by your vote. I want to encourage you to learn more about Brenda. We hope to certainly speak to her again. We will be on again on November, the first Sunday in November, which is the last opportunity to hear from the candidates prior to Election Day, and it's very important.
Yeah. So, Brenda, thank you so much for coming on. We're going to let you
Thank
get some rest
you.
tonight.
Appreciate
Thank you,
it.
Brenda.
All right.
After your long
I'll
day.
rest on November 5th. That's fine.
Yeah, and then you'll be able to work on
Yeah.
November 6th.
Back to work.
We're going to ask you at home to stay tuned. We're coming right back with fashionpreneur Del Scott. We'll be right back.